Alright guys, today we're going to talk about EVP, or electronic voice phenomena. I wanted to make this video because I haven't made many in a while, and I want to keep up with my subscribers and give you a good experience for subscribing to my channel. I want to produce useful information for people involved in the field of parapsychology, or I guess specifically what we're going to be talking about today, ghost hunting. You have to forgive me, there are a lot of bugs out here right now. But, okay, so EVP, or electronic voice phenomena, as many of you probably know if you're watching this, refers to a type of phenomena or maybe belief that a lot of paranormal proponents have. And the belief is that by listening to certain recordings after, being recorded, or maybe in real time in some cases, disembodied voices in some paranormal or unexplained way somehow appear on audio recording apparatus, like a digital voice recorder, for example. Now, if you ever watch any ghost hunting shows, they will typically ask questions of the allegedly disembodied spirits, ghosts, and on playing the recording back, they'll hear disembodied voices, maybe answers to their questions, or so they think. But what you need to be aware of is there's a lot of psychology that goes into those experiences. And what I'd like to do in this particular video is, if you are a ghost investigator or interested in doing some sort of ghost investigation or ghost hunt, and you want to collect EVP in at least a semi-scientific manner, because the scientific status of EVP is, it's unconfirmed. There's no evidence that EVP is actually real, well, in the sense that it's a real paranormal unexplained phenomena. It very well could be, but, the evidence for it's pretty poor. And before you paranormal proponents actually cut off the video and shut out everything else I'm saying, if you're interested in trying to collect EVP in a scientific manner, I really recommend that you listen to the rest of this. Now, one thing that many ghost hunters aren't aware of is that there is a lot of history in the scientific study of the paranormal, and that dates mainly back to 1882, when the Society for Psychical Research was founded in England. And as far as the history of EVP research goes, if anybody's heard of or read about the history, there's a lot there, really. A lot of people trace it back to Frederick Jurgensen, when he was listening to a recording he was trying to make of bird sounds. He started hearing unexplained voices when he played back the recording. But it goes further back than that. Anyway, there was one guy, Konstantin Raudevy. He was a Latvian psychologist, and he is really the guy that brought EVP to the attention of Americans, for the most part. Now, most people know about that. Anyway, many ghost hunters don't know, I guess, other bits of history, the more scientific and scholarly history of EVP. In the 1970s, there was a researcher named David Ellis. Now, Ellis ended up publishing some of his research in the Journal of the Society for Psychical Research. Now, for a long time in the 70s, he had actually done research into EVP, electronic voice phenomena, and at first he was very open to the idea that they were paranormal in some way, but over time he became more and more skeptical, and in the end pretty much thought that most of them probably had a normal explanation. So bear that in mind when you're watching those ghost hunting shows, or even trying to get EVP for yourself. If you're going to try and do or get EVP, you have to be aware of the skeptical objections to EVP. One of them is that some of the voices you're allegedly getting or capturing could just be stray radio transmissions. And one thing you can do to try and eliminate that possibility is to build or get a Faraday cage. Even if it's just like a small aluminum container, of some sort that you can put the audio recorder in. That'll typically block out most radio transmissions, if you do it right. I've actually made a video of that a few years ago. I made that and put it on YouTube. I might attach it in a link at some point. But, you know, I'm not worrying about that right now. Anyway, so stray radio transmissions are one potential explanation. But also we have to be aware that people are pattern-seeking individuals. We are very pattern-seeking. Like even when we look up at clouds, we'll look up at clouds and see faces and dragons, and we'll make sense out of random, you know, information, random data. And that's another counter-explanation to EVP as representing something real. So when you're conducting EVP sessions, you have to be aware of that. When you're listening to recordings on playback, if you've seen most ghost hunting shows, typically the researcher will say, "Oh, I heard hey," or "Oh, I heard yeah," or "Oh, shit, that guy just called your mom a bitch." And everybody who listens to the recording after that will hear exactly what the person said. And so that's an issue right there, because you can't really be sure that the people are actually really hearing what they think they're hearing. Because if I say, listen to this, and you're going to hear hey, you're more likely to hear hey than if I, you know, don't say anything and just let you listen to it as it is. And there's been some research done into that too. I think Eman Barras, who was another psychologist, did a study in either 1999, 2000, somewhere around that region or area, and he, you know, found again that a lot of psychology goes into the experiences. So one thing you have to do is, instead of saying, "Oh, I think it says hey, what do you think it says?" you should first, if you think you hear an EVP, isolate it in an individual sound file, maybe even taking out the question that you asked so that people aren't more prone to, I think if they hear the question, like if you ask, "Can you say hey for me?" people might be more prone to hear hey as a response. So you might want to take any questions that you've asked out of the sound file, and just when you isolate some sort of thing that you think is an anomaly, put it in a sound file isolated by itself and let several people listen to it. And if they all hear the same thing independently of one another, meaning that you haven't said, "Oh, I think it says this," then you have a good reason to think that, you know, it actually sounds like that. It could actually be a genuine response, especially if it's an intelligent response to a question, or if it seems to be. So mainly you just want to, I guess, have independent judges, in a sense, listening to the sound file or sound files that you've gotten, and that would be one way of ensuring that the EVP is an objective thing. The voice you're hearing is really objective, and it says what you think it says. Now also, again, use the Faraday devices. You can get them off of some ghost hunting websites, or you could just make your own. You want to put your audio recorder in there to block out most, I guess, radio interference, because some recorders really can pick up radio interference, and that's important to be aware of. Another thing you might want to try is record like baseline periods where no questions are asked in a allegedly haunted area, and then record a period where questions are asked and responses are gotten or acquired, and then just remove the questions you ask from the sound file so that both sound the same, and then you can randomly distribute them to people and have them listen. And I guess you could do something like a two-sample t-test, something where you're comparing two samples. You compare the baseline things where no questions are asked in a haunting investigation to a period where questions are asked, but the questions themselves are removed from the recording. And you have people listen to them. And if people, for some reason, actually hear EVP more often than not in the experimental condition, meaning the one where you've asked questions, then you have a good reason for thinking, if that's significant enough, and if you do it enough and get significant results, you have a good reason for thinking that there could be something to it. But if the baseline and the experimental condition are basically the same, then you, again, just want to be skeptical. And this isn't meant to be an exhaustive analysis of EVP. I just wanted to make some notes on it. And mainly because, again, I haven't made videos in a while, and I've been meaning to do it. Once I get a better camera, I'm using my iPhone right now. Once I get a better camera, I might put some more stuff up. But anyway, stay tuned. Stay posted for when I actually post other videos. I'm going to get some beer tonight, probably some Sam Adams. And, yeah. Probably going to have a fire soon, too. But anyway, just keep all that stuff in mind. If you have any questions or concerns, feel free to message me or comment on the video. Again, comment, like, subscribe. Do whatever your heart desires, mainly. But, again, when you're doing these ghost investigations and stuff, it's important to look into the scientific literature regarding things like that and be well versed in it. You don't want to be subjecting yourself to very many skeptical arguments that, or you don't want to subject yourself to skeptical, well, I guess you do want to subject your results to skeptical scrutiny. That's kind of what we're going for here. But you don't want to be fooled, and you also don't want to be ridiculed for being a poor excuse of a researcher or investigator. With that, I'm going to end the video. And again, comment, like, subscribe. Take it easy, guys.